Hey there everyone, Kyle here, and today I'm going to be teaching you about the guitar. This is going to be a very basic look at the instrument. First, we'll be looking at the anatomy of the guitar, because in order to better understand how to play the instrument, we need to have an understanding of how it is put together. The second thing I'll be going over is some techniques for playing, such as how to place your fingers on the neck and a couple different picking styles. So, to begin, let me tell you that this guitar, right here, is a steel string semi-acoustic guitar. The reason that it has this name is because of the strings being made of metal, as opposed to nylon, like some classical style guitars are. It's called semi-acoustic because this particular guitar has a pickup and tuner built into it, while still being hollow, like most acoustic guitars are. The built-in pickup and tuner allow me to plug it into an amp and tune it using the built-in tuner right here, and to give it more sound. You plug it in this port right here. But I can still play it like a regular acoustic if I want to. The built-in tuner is great because you don't necessarily need an amp. All you really need is a normal electric guitar cable. And if you plug it into the jack right there, all you have to do is hit this button right here. And then if you play a note, it'll tell you if you're sharp or flat or in tune. Now to get onto more of the common anatomy of the guitar, up here we have what is called the headstock, which is where we wind the strings of the guitar around these pegs right here. These pegs are called tuning pegs. And sticking out of the headstock are what we call the tuning knobs, which are attached to the pegs, allowing us to lower or raise the pitch of the guitar. So you can see from the back, this is the bottom of the tuning peg right here, and it just shoots up through the headstock and out like that. The tuning pegs and knobs allow us to lower or raise the pitch of the guitar. At the bottom of the headstock, you'll find a little plastic piece which keeps the guitar strings in line. This is called the nut. Under the nut, we have this long piece of wood with some metal bars and some dots, as you can see on it as well. This is called the neck, with the back part, all this, and the side right here being called the neck. The front part, which is where you place your fingers, is called the fretboard. The metal rods are called frets, and the dots are called fret markers or inlays. Now, the purpose of the frets is to help us better find individual notes on the guitar. Unlike other string instruments, such as a violin or a standing bass, which are fretless, and you have to have a better ear than some guitar players do in order to find the specific note you're looking for. There are 21 frets, with the nut at the top of the neck counting as the open string fret. The fret markers, or inlays, are used to better discern which frets are where when you're playing. The fret markers are put on this guitar: 3rd fret, 5th, 7th, 9th, 12th, 15th, and 17th frets. Attached to the bottom of the neck is the body of the guitar, which has the sound hole in the middle, allowing the guitar to produce sound, and the bridge down here, which keeps the 6 strings in place, much like the nut does. As you may have noticed, like many guitars, this guitar has 6 strings. However, there are many types of guitars that have more and less. For instance, there are 7-string guitars and 12-string guitars. Bass guitars can have anywhere from 4 being the most common to even 5, 6, or 7 strings. There are even some electric guitars that have a bigger body, allowing 2 necks with differing amounts of strings on each neck, usually 12 strings and 6 strings. But enough trivia, let's move on to the standard tuning used for the 6 strings. The standard tuning used for the 6-string guitar is E, A, D, G, B, and E, with the thickest string at the top up here being E, the second from the top being A, the third being D, the fourth being G, the fifth being B, and the sixth and highest being another E. Now to learning how to play. If you are right-handed like I am, you will most likely be using your right hand to pick the strings and your left hand to fret the strings. Let's start off with how to pick the strings first, though. Many guitarists just use a guitar pick, like this one, to pick the strings, but many still use their fingers in the classical picking style. The classical picking style, or sometimes better known as the claw style, uses your thumb to play the E, A, and D strings, your index to play the G string, your middle to play the B string, and your ring finger to play the E string. The reason why the claw style, or classical style, of picking is preferred by some guitar players is because it allows you to dance across those strings and pick them faster than if you were to use a pick. Plus it allows you to play some strings together without hitting strings in between them, such as a G string and E string. And the way you would do that is you would just pinch the strings together and let them ring. Now, if you are going to use a guitar pick, let me show you how to hold it. You should be pinching the guitar pick between your thumb and index finger, like so. And you want to hold it about in the middle, towards the bottom, so you have good motion. Now, when using the classical style, if you want to play a full chord using all the strings, or to strum the guitar, you just use your thumb to play all 6 strings as opposed to using the other 3 fingers with it. When you're strumming the guitar with a pick, however, most people use a lot of elbow action when they're playing. This is incorrect. What you should really be doing is using your wrist. Just like that. Now let's get to learning how to fret the guitar with your left hand. It's important to know how to hold the guitar. Most people just lay it across their leg like this. Well, you can see, just like this, with it resting on here. However, most classical players sit it in between their legs and have it up like this. I'm just going to show you the common way, because it's easier for me. When you're fretting, you want to keep your thumb on the back of the neck so you can apply more pressure to the strings so they go down all the way. When fretting a string, you want to make sure that your finger is as close to the fret as possible so it comes out in the best tune. It's also important to make sure that if you're playing just individual strings, you want your fingers on the very tips. But for some chords, such as this A chord right here, you can lay your fingers flat across the neck. Or even power chords like this. However, some chords, like this D chord right here, which is the 2nd fret of the G string, 3rd fret of the B string, and 2nd fret of the E string, your fingers need to be on their very tips in order to get the best sound. Now what I'm going to teach you is how we slur notes on the guitar. There are three techniques in which you can do this. The first is what I like to call the hammer-on and the pull-off. So right here you can see that my index finger is fretting the 2nd fret of the A string. And all I'm going to do is play it, and with my ring finger I'm going to smack my ring finger onto the 4th fret of the A string. That's a hammer-on. Now a pull-off, which is a downward slur, you just take the same ring finger and you pick it towards the middle of the neck to go from the 4 to the 2. Now it's important to know that with a pull-off, it's not just lifting your finger up. You actually are using your finger to, in fact, pluck the string at the neck. The second technique we can use to slur on a guitar is called a slide, which there's, in fact, an entire style of playing guitar called slide guitar, which uses a tool known as a slide. But it's pretty easy. All you have to do is, as you can see, I'm still on the 2nd fret of the A string. Just play it, then you just slide it up. You can slide down and up. The third technique we can use to slur on the guitar is called a bend. And it's quite literally what you think it is. You're just bending a note by bending the string. So, I'll show you. I am still on the 2nd fret of the A string, but I'm using my index finger on the 1st fret, so I have a little bit more finger strength in order to get the bend. All you do is you play the note, and you bend the strings towards the middle of the neck to get that sound, the higher sound. You can even play pre-bent strings and let them resume to normal pitch. Now, another technique I'm going to show you is what is called palm muting the guitar. It's pretty easy. All it does is it allows you to make the guitar a little bit softer. All you do is you take this part of your palm on your picking hand. You want to lay it right here on the bridge, just so that it gives it a small muted sound. However, if you go too far onto the strings, it's not going to make any sound. You just get this dead note sound. Another important thing to know about the guitar is that the highest fret that you're fretting is what will be played. So, say if you look at my fingers right here, I'm fretting the 8th and 6th frets. But when I play, all that's going to play are the 7th or 8th frets. Now if I lift my ring finger off, the 6th fret will play. Well, that's all I've got for you. Thank you for your time, and have a nice night.